and telling a lie, it may benefit in that moment, but in the long term it ruins you. Because people always know you as a liar and never trust what you say. And when lying is prevalent in the society, nobody trusts anyone. Nobody trusts anyone. I remember one time I was going with my family, and I was in Lebanon, and I needed some money in Lebanon. And my friend, who is from Lebanon, he was in another country at the time, and I forgot my money at home in another country. So I called up my friend, and I said, look, I need to borrow $1,000. And then he arranged for it, go here, there, and you will pick up the $1,000 from this man in a few hours' time. And then my father looked at me, and he said, look at this thiqa in Arabic, is confidence. He was amazed that you just called someone and he will borrow you $1,000. Because that's what, when you tell the truth, as-sidqu anja wa anja, will benefit you more and more. That is the truth. And when you tell a lie, you always contradict yourself, and you're finding you're falling over your own lies. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here, do not they ponder on the Quran, if it was from other than Allah, you will find in it many contradictions. The Quran was revealed over 23 years. Some of the chapters of the Quran, it started in Mecca and finished 10, 15 years later in Medina. So the whole chapter was in 15 years. The Prophet ﷺ would receive revelation on part of the surah years before and then finish it years later. And all of this, so ayahs came, different surah and different, all coming together, knitted together to become the Quran. So imagine over 23 years, if it was a lie, you would at least find in it even at least one contradiction. Because as I said, lies always contradict themselves. People always falling over their own lies. In Quran there's not even a single contradiction. This is what Allah said, if you ponder over the Quran, if it was from someone other than Allah, if it's from man, then you will find in it plenty of contradictions. And now we finish about the ayat of the Quran, and we will talk about some of the ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ about the Quran. He ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best amongst you is the one who learns the Quran and then teaches it. Narrated by Al-Bukhari on the authority of Uthman ibn Affan. And he ﷺ said, من قرأ حرفا من كتاب الله فله بحسنة والحسنة بعشر أمثالها لا أقول ألف لا ميم حرف ولكن ألف حرف ولام حرف وميم حرف. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever recites a letter from the book of Allah, he will have a reward, and the reward will be multiplied by 10. And he says, I'm not saying alif lam mim is harf, because we have the many chapters in the Quran, they start with alif lam mim, or they start with qaf, or they start with yasin, they start with letters. The Prophet ﷺ, I'm not saying alif lam mim is a letter, rather I'm saying alif harf wa lam harf wa mim harf. Alif is a harf, lam is a harf, and mim is a harf. So you get from just reciting these 3 letters the reward of 30. Not 3, but 30. Look at the ajr in the reciting of the Quran. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, الماهر بالقرآن مع سفرة الكرام البررة والذي يقرأ القرآن وهو يتأتأ فيه وهو عليه شاق له أجرا. Verily the one who recites the Quran beautifully, smoothly and precisely, he will be in the company of the noble and obedient angels. And as for the one who recites with difficulty, stammering, yata'ta, someone who's like stutters on the Quran or stumbling through its verses, then his reward will be multiplied twice. Reported by Muslim on the authority of Aisha, the mother of the believers. So look, subhanallah, we are encouraged to recite the Quran. And this is the month of Quran. This is the month in which the Quran was revealed. This is the month in which good actions are multiplied, and multiplied. And in the reciting of the Quran, someone who recites it beautifully, we should all recite the Quran beautifully with tajweed and the beautiful style. He is rewarded, as I said, He is with the noble and obedient angels. Imagine, by reciting the Quran, when you die, you will be with the noble and obedient angels. And even the one who can't recite it properly, he's not told to give up. A lot of us, I can't recite the Quran properly. I'm always, it takes me 10 minutes just to recite one ayah. Even that person gets reward. Even he gets his reward will be multiplied twice. Not to say that we should always stay stuttering the Quran, but to say that we should try until we can recite the Quran properly. And it doesn't matter if you have a beautiful voice or not, but to recite it properly. Just over the mentioned the hadith at the beginning, that will come a time when all they care about is the beauty of the voice and neglect the essence of the Quran. So it doesn't matter if you have a beautiful voice or not, but you recite the Quran properly with the correct tajweed. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّ الَّذِي لَيْسَ فِي جَوْفِهِ شَيْءٌ مِّنَ الْقُرْآنِ كَالْبَيْتِ خَرَبٍ. Kharab yani is the one in whom there is no Quran, is like the barren house. And I know, sometimes when you watch these property programs, there's loads of them, buying and selling property, and I want to buy a house in Spain and America and all these places. Some of them, they buy houses from auction. And these houses are run-down houses. Some of them in the slums of cities. You go in there's nothing in the house, and there's a bit of wall falling off, and a bit of painting, come off, and the house is empty. And when you see that, you feel cold. The house just doesn't have nothing in there. But then they come back a few months later and they find it all done up. Furniture and bed and the kitchen done and the bathroom done, and it's the same house, and you'll be surprised. But it looks homely, feels warm. This is like the one, إِنَّ الَّذِي لَيْسَ فِي جَوْفِهِ شَيْءٌ مِّنَ الْقُرْآنِ كَالْبَيْتِ خَرَبٍ. The one who doesn't have any of the Quran in his house is like a barren house, ruined house. This is like the houses that have nothing in them compared to the houses that were fully furnished. Electric heating and TV and sofa. We should be the house which is warm. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, اقرأ القرآن فإنه يأتي يوم القيامة شفيعا لصاحبه. Read the Quran, because the Quran will come on the Yawm al-Qiyamah as an intercessor for its companion. On the day which is 50,000 years long. Yawm al-Qiyamah is 50,000 years long. Everyone will be saying, Nafsi, Nafsi. Everyone will be saying, myself, myself. Even the prophets will be saying, Nafsi, Nafsi. Except the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, who will be saying, Ummati, Ummati. My ummah, my ummah. So this day is a terrible day. Your necks will be outstretched. Your eyes will be huge. Because you have seen the punishment that is awaiting the wrongdoers. You are in a state of, as Allah said, sukara. You are in a state of drunkenness. وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى وَلَكِنَّ عَذَابَ اللَّهِ شَدِيدٌ. You will see mankind as if they are drunk. When you go out on a Friday night, Saturday night, you have to, like Minesweeper on Microsoft, hide from to escape from the bombs. You go out on a Saturday morning, you have to escape all the puke that is all over the streets and the urine here and all the places. Because you see, man, they are drunk. They're tripping over themselves and they don't know what they're saying, and they're sleeping in someone else's doorway, and they wake up in someone else's bed and all sorts of stuff. Allah said, on this day, mankind will be as if they are drunk, going from left to right, swinging and all this, from back and forth. وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. But they are not drunk. But the punishment of Allah is severe. The severity of that day has made them drunk. A child will go grey in his hair. When he sees the fire, when he sees the punishment, when he sees the angels dragging the hellfire to the scene of the Day of Judgment, they go grey. The woman gives birth who is pregnant. Man will be eating, they will be eating their hands out of fear. What is going to happen to them? They won't be biting their fingers, they'll be eating their hands. and the kafirin was